Hey everybody, it's Jim here, and recently Line 6 released an update for the Helix up to 3.15, and I haven't really been using the device that much, if I'm honest with you. Ever since we got the Mesa Boogie Reverb, I'm doing all my demo stuff mic'd up the old way with 57 straight into the interface, and any effects are just right into the effects loop of my amp, and I've been having a lot of fun doing it kind of like that and committing and not kind of tinkering with settings so much. And I decided I was going to give this update a try. I heard nothing but great things about it, so let's hear some of the little sound samples, mainly kind of the ambient reverbs, because I thought those were the big kind of like deal of this update. Now, one thing a lot of people have been critical about Line 6 for is the quality of the reverbs that are on this unit and some of the other units. I think this does a really good job, and it kind of expands the ambient kind of tones, and there's a lot of really spacey things. There's this thing called ratchet. It's in the delay section, and it kind of like aggressively repeats a certain thing over and over again, and it's definitely eccentric, and I can see a lot of people that are into that style of music really being happy with this, and I think it is kind of cool. But one thing that I wanted to test while I still had this up, I have been obsessed with my Earthquaker Devices Astral Destiny. My favorite mode on that pedal is the sub mode, the sub shimmer, which basically combines a lower octave and a higher octave. So I opened up HX Edit and I edited so it would also be giving me one octave up and one octave down. I'm going to play those back to back and see if we can tell which one is which. Now, the Line 6 definitely does hold its own, and I'm sure if I were to sit and tweak this thing more in the box or on the unit itself as far as the parameters go, maybe I could get it even closer to the Earthquaker Devices. But I think what I've come to learn here is, and kind of the point of this, I am not really into the digital stuff like I thought I was going to be. I was for quite some time when I first started this channel. Basically 99% of the demos were all using an HX Stomp, and then we had the Quad Cortex. That was a great unit. I definitely can see why people still love that unit, and I'm really excited for the people that still have theirs because they recently just got a major update that has the looper in it. And one thing that I really miss about the Quad Cortex, comparing it to the HX Stomp XL that I have now, how easy and how analog it feels when you want to change things around, when you want to change routing and things like that. Just to touch screen, the intuitiveness of the actual software itself combined with the rotary faders, I think that the rotary knobs, I thought that it was just so easy to work with, and it didn't feel like I was using a digital piece of gear in the same way that the HX Stomp kind of feels to me, and that's one thing I really miss about it. And another thing I really appreciated about the Quad Cortex compared to the HX Stomp XL, this is not a problem if you have a full Helix or an LT, I love the fact that it is so easy to have the two separate effects loops. When you have the Stomp or the Stomp XL, you technically have the one stereo one, but there's only one send out. So you need a separate Y splitter cable and then a little bit of intuitiveness when you're doing the routing to get things to work in a traditional and easy sense. So when I'm thinking about setting up a feed to have right into the PA system and a feed for myself, and on top of that, incorporating my own pedals that I really love for time-based and modulation, it was much more straightforward, much more easy in my experience for me to use the Quad Cortex. But focusing back onto the Helix itself, I think that this is a great update, but it reminded me of how much I don't enjoy doing things inside of the box when I was starting to try to open up HX Edit, and I was having my fun seeing what was new, seeing what was different. I did like how the majority of the newer effects were on the bottom of each of the different kind of subsections, so they were pretty easy for me to find for the most part. And I mean, it's good, it's great. If you want to take the time and you're a mouse clicker, or you're somebody that just enjoys that kind of thing like Dave. Dave loves that, and he has no problem doing that. He's a real sculptor in that sense. Somebody like me though, this was just a reminder. I haven't done it in a while, and when I opened up and I sat to do it, I found myself more frustrated than anything else, and I wasted about 2.5 hours to get this thing kind of where I wanted it to go, and then trying to experiment with different routings to get the best use of my pedals and then make it incorporate with my amp. And I'm sure that these are all things that I could set up in theory and it would work if I really put the time into it, but what I noticed is I would just much rather spend my time playing my guitar and less time messing with parameters and clicking a mouse. I'm so happy with the tones that I get out of the Astral Destiny, out of the Volante, out of the Zelza. It was so easy for me to get a great tone with little to no effort on all three of those pedals, and I've kind of found my tone with them. So trying to kind of recreate the sounds that I love with those pedals into the Helix, going back to revisiting kind of the digital software of it, I don't know, maybe it's just not for me. And you know, everyone's different, so I mean, to each their own, but I don't know that I'm going to be getting rid of this. This thing is so helpful, especially in a pinch, or if an amp goes, or you know, whatever happens at a gig, you really never know. But I don't know. I think we're going to be keeping things the way they are. Part of me was thinking maybe we're going to be switching back to using more of the HX Stomp for some of the demos and things of that kind of nature. However, at the end of the day, I'm really enjoying miking things up with the amp. I'm really enjoying how things are progressing in the more analog sense. And it's just, I don't know, it's weird. It's easy to me. I really just prefer it that way. But that's all I have for you guys today. I know this was kind of an all over the place thing. This is more of like a self-reflection, almost like a vlog to myself, if that makes any sense, because the only person I can talk to about this is you guys and to Dave. And Dave is a gigantic supporter of this. He doesn't understand how I can't just fall in love with this kind of software the way that he does. But you know, I'm more of an analog guy and he's more of a digital guy, I guess, at the end of the day. Tomorrow's my wife's birthday, so not so sure we're gonna have a major video for that, but I wanted to get this out because the update was just released and I had been playing around with it. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take it easy, everybody.